The next slide talks about the typical HVAC operational objective of the marine sector. In the last slide, we checked about the design aspects. In the design, what we need to take care, like safety and the temperature and the RH and sound level and vibration, drain management and pressurization, all these things. Here in this slide, we are going to cover the typical HVAC operational objectives, because design objective is one part and operational objective is another part. So in operational objective, if you see, the HVAC equipment must be in continuous operation. Any guesses why it should be in continuous operation? Any doubt? Well, it should be in continuous operation because there is a continuous occupancy always happens in the LQ. LQ is nothing but a living quarter. That is the place where people come and stay. So equipment has to be a duty and standby arrangement. So it always runs 24/7. Second is redundancy. Redundancy of the HVAC equipment serving the critical areas. The reason is that suppose something happens, the duty and standby. Suppose only one equipment you are providing, and suppose one fan you are providing for the smoking zone. Suppose only one fan is providing for the kitchen. Something happens to the fan, just imagine what will happen. Person will start feeling uncomfortable. Pressurization you will lose. There is always a danger of hazardous gases coming inside the accommodation. So for the critical areas, always the redundancy is must. Third point is the power supply from the dual source for the critical areas of the HVAC equipment. That is main power supply plus emergency power supply. When I say this, what happens over here? Why I say like that? Just imagine the staircase which is inside the LQ. In case of fire happens, HVAC system gets shut down because that is a major again the source of the spreading again the fire, because they are supplying the oxygen with it in a large quantity. And of course the fire is happening, nobody is going to stay there. So what's the point in starting the HVAC over there? So still, but you have a staircase over there and you need to pressurize it. Just imagine the main power source is off. Then you need to provide the emergency power source to the staircase pressurization fan. So we need to identify which are the areas which are critical like this, and we need to plan our power source as per that. So this is for the HVAC to plan the emergency power also. The emergency situation, always discussions happen with the technical safety department. Types of department also I will come in the next slide or the next session. But for time being, you need to understand that we need to think of the power supply from the dual source also for the critical areas. Don't worry, this is not everything. If on each and every point I can talk about 10 days or 15 days. That's what vast subject it is. So don't worry, this is just a basic. So I'm going to come anyway with the very huge volume of the things. This is just a basic. So just I'm focusing on the very important aspects. Then the dust and contamination filtration is also very important over here. Then operational simplicity, critical spares and interchangeability. These are the very important aspects over here. When I say operational simplicity, it's nothing but when we are starting in a system, it should not be complex. It should be very simple to operate, because more the complex system, more the spare parts are needed. More the spare part you are using, more your logistics cost will increase. Your weight will increase. So system should be as simple as possible, but yet it should be an effective one. Critical spares is also the same one, because you should not increase the weight on the ship or you should not increase the weight on the platform. The spares has to be ordered in a limited quantity. That is also the spares of a critical parts only, not for everything. Then interchangeability is something, try to select the AHU model or AHU motor model, fan model or ventilation fan model as similar and close to each other, because something failure happens to one, the spare parts is only common. So you don't have to buy a different capacity motor because if one spare is there, you can easily interchange with each other. So try to standardize the requirement as soon as possible by, by being flexible in the design. So this is what the purpose of I am talking about the interchangeability. Now let's move on to the next slide.